All right, everybody, welcome to our first ever episode of The Drive here on Southeastern Sports Network, a show where we're going to be interviewing some of our guests from our baseball and football league, as well as some other sports. We have a very great, interesting guest for us today on the show. For our very first episode, we have our lead analyst of our Baseball Now show and the host of the bullpen, as well as the commissioner of our baseball and football league, Thomas. Welcome to the show tonight, Thomas.
Hey Scott, good to be here. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing really good. It's glad to have you on as always, and happy to have you as our first contestant, as you say, to our new show.
Let's do it. I'm excited to be a part of the program.
So I guess let's get started with the baseball aspect. How did you get into the fantasy baseball business?
Well, I just decided to go on I decided the football was going good. I was in a couple of leagues on the football, and then I believe you started up a league, and I joined in. I figured, you know what? Let's run it.
And you did really good from the start, if I remember correctly.
Yep, and I actually didn't. I wasn't able to draft on that first one. I had the auto draft, and it was all about making some trades, making some deals, and I had a pretty good run. I don't think my team was that strong, but we had I think it was 2018. We had a pretty good, I had a pretty good team that year.
Yes, you did. Other was it 28? No, I think it was later on where I had your number for a couple of games, but we'll get to that later on. So, how did it come about that you became commissioner?
Um, people asked me to do it. They asked me to sit down and come up with everything, and it was just easier for me to do it because at the time my job was a unloader, a UPS unloader in a Twilight store. So I had plenty of time during the day because we only got, I mean, of course, the hours varied from 3.5 to 7 hours, but we only
Right.
had, I only had so much, I only had, that little time frame of work. So I had plenty of time to sit around and tinker with stuff and come up with a general idea and a program.
Well, I think you've done a really good job as commissioner so far, and I think the whole league hopes that you'll be around for a while as commissioner, even though you have, I think, in my personal opinion, as one of the team owners, I think your teams have started to cool off some and start going down a little bit.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the compliment. I'll be here. I'll be running the baseball and some of the football as long as people want to, as long as our league members still want to do it and still want me to do everything, I'll still keep doing it.
You
Even though
see,
it is a little bit more difficult now since I'm in driving, I don't have as much time, but I enjoy doing what I do. Let's put it that way.
you think your team's going to be competitive this year?
I hope so. I didn't do. I mean, a lot of talk that my team's dropped off, but I've been in the playoffs. I mean, you can't really. I mean, it's not winning the title, no, but you got to get to the playoffs to do in order to win the championship. So
Right, I agree with you 100%. I think a lot of the league was surprised with who won the championship this year.
yeah, Greg didn't do. I wouldn't. I'm not sure. I would say surprised because I do think Greg is a very capable opponent. And he has gotten, Greg has been in here for so long. He's only gotten better. He's only paid attention. But what I like about him is he plays it his way. He's got a little bit of a different approach than I would take. And that's okay though, because if we had a league of eight, of all eight members doing the same thing I did, or the same thing you did, or the same thing Greg did, then it wouldn't be an interesting league because it would be very boring. So it's good to see the system that he wants to run. It's good to see a different system win it. And he's a very capable. I think he gets a lot of luck, but as he said a ton, luck is really king in this game.
Yes, you're right. And
So he knows what he's doing. He will be a contender for years to come.
of course, everybody knows my luck when it comes to start the season, what my luck is.
What you
Eh,
started last year? 0-10,
0-9 before I had my
oh
first
and 9.
victory. But I will say I am happy with how my team performed at the end of the year because we did go on that run at the end of the year and started clicking. So hopefully we could continue that into next season with another run. Um, Back over the last couple of years, have you seen some stuff that you have improved on with the league, like new rules, new things, or do you see anything that's going forward you think we're going to improve on with the league?
Um, I don't think there's a whole lot of changes to be made necessarily. I think what we've got now, I think the trading for years that have been a big problem in our league, where there's been some belly aching and some whining over deals. And I think the new policy and the stuff like that is kind of it's more realistic baseball. I mean, you still might get a couple of trades that are garbage, but what I've learned is what somebody thinks is garbage, somebody else made the two partners that made that deal may not think it's garbage necessarily. And I can't. I mean, there's going to be a couple of changes. There'll be a couple rule changes on the pitchers. We had a situation last year where we had, and I don't think it was on purpose, but we had one team that was, we had a couple teams that didn't throw, but like five or six starters, and that's just not fair. You know that's not fair to everybody else. So we are going to crack down on that. Um, Other than that, though, I really don't think. I mean, except the pitching, the minimum pitchers, and then going over starting pitchers. But that's not league wide. That's only one or two players, and that'll be. I've got a good feeling that'll be corrected this year. So I don't see. So Scott, I don't see the need to really make wholesale changes. I think we've got a pretty good system in place.
I think so too. I think it's really come about the last couple of years. It's really become a fine oiled machines, so short of. Not only are you the commissioner of the Baseball and Football League, but this past season you also took a lead role with what was Cash and Sports, now Southeastern Sports Network. You took one of the lead analyst roles. Am I right?
Yep, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Do you see anything going forward this year that you think you might be able to tell the people that you think might be coming down the line for the network? Or
Well, we've as you mentioned in the opening program, we got a lot of one of the a lot of these episodes coming up as a different look into our players, our league members, and stuff like that. Which I'm really excited to get to see what you can come up with, and how they respond to the questions. I'm really I'm really interested to see that part of the program. I think we got a couple of disc golf things to take care of. That's part of the program. Hopefully, I can win that. We'll have to we'll have to see if
of course,
we'll have to see.
I think it hasn't been released yet, but I think I think Greg is going to be spending some time with you on some of the shows, helping you with the load when you are occupied having to do other things for the network or occupied with work or something like that. I believe Greg is going to kind of help carry your load a little bit. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm excited to work with Greg and to get him up to speed on where he needs to be. And of course, he's going to want to put his own spin on how he does things. But
Right.
I'm excited to get him caught up to where we are, and to where he can also be a very valuable asset and do stuff like you said when I'm not available or when you're not available. He can just slide right on in and just run it to perfection.
Of course, don't matter if it's Greg or any of our other analysts. I don't think there's, according to the population, there's nobody that could say, welcome to the bullpen quite like you do.
No, I would. I hope not.
So not only are you an avid baseball and football fan and a part of the sports network and East Tennessee media, you're also an avid disc golfer, from what I understand.
Yep, it's funny. I got started. You're the one who got me started on the disc golf. I want to say it was 2016, I think, and I started
Yeah.
going to Salem. I played up there with you in Gatlinburg at Mills Park, and then I went down and started at Salem over here in McDonough, a little nine-hole course. Which, interestingly, from what I understand, that course is fixing to be expanded, and I hadn't gotten over there in so long. So I'm excited to get over there when I've got the chance to and see what they've changed. But yeah, I started in 2016. I took it more serious in 2018. I started playing in some tournaments, 18, 19, and 20, and then 21. And then when I went into package car driving for UPS, the tournaments kind of went down. I just didn't have time to prepare for the tournaments.
Right.
But yeah, I love disc golf. There's nothing there's nothing like hearing the putter go into the chains, especially if you're getting a birdie or an eagle. There's just nothing like it.
Of course, from what I understand, that's not a very often thing for you.
Well, it depends on the course. There's some courses, Scott, that are difficult, uh, that are really difficult, and there's some courses that are really easy to play.
I'm just going by what the rumors is going around, but I will say I have seen you greatly improve in your disc golf game compared to the first days when we first started playing at Mills Park.
I'm
Where
I'm always I'm always reinventing stuff. I've been criticized before that I change stuff up. And I don't have the perfect form, and I don't have the time in my schedule to practice every day. Um, so now it's just about getting out there when I can and just having fun. Always good day to beat Greg.
that is true,
I
but
mean, I'm not being disrespectful to Greg because he has really improved. He had a stretch. Matter of fact, we played on Monday for like 4 weeks in a row at Mosley, and the first couple ones were close, and then I think the third one he tore my butt up on the third round, and then I finally beat him next week. And when Greg is on, if you what I've learned is if you let Greg hang around, if you don't put him down by 5 or 6 strokes, and you start scuffling, and you know, he's able to be consistent, then he'll hang around, and all of a sudden you've got one or two holes to go, and you're either tied or you're behind one, and you're up one, and all the pressure's onto you. So he's
right.
gotten a lot better.
He is a really good player, and I think you have too. I remember our early days at Mills Park where I had your number for a while, but I think those days are slowly starting to even out a little bit because I know you've had my number here lately.
I'm not sure. It's been a while since you've actually beat me around.
Yeah, it has been. Of course, let's not forget, the person that got this all started with disc golf was Colin, and may he rest in peace. I think I don't know what we've been doing with our free time if it hadn't have been for him getting us started on that. It's a hobby he got us into that I think we both really enjoy, and I look forward to our spring. Uh, what is it called? I forgot? Is it match? I think it's called.
Now, whatever it is, match, round, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully, when I come up there, I'll be ready to lay the woodshed down.
Of course, that'll be on Southeastern Sports Network. All of our family competitions will be brought, plus a few others.
Correct.
But I mean, do you have anything else you would like to add?
I look forward to doing the disc golf round. I mean, it's really, like you've said, I'm really glad and grateful that Colin got you started on it, which got me started on it. And I mean, I'm really glad for that because it just gives, another chance to get outside and do something. I feel like I can do better at disc golf. I mean, by no means am I, a hell of a player, but I'm not a great player, but I have fun with it.
Right.
When I'm not hitting trees, which is often occurrence,
Or hitting water.
or missing putts that's 20 feet putts or five
Or
or 10 foot putts.
I still remember the time we went to a Knoxville course, and this is a funny story, folks. We went to that was back in what,
2019, I think.
2019. All of us went to Knoxville for me, Greg, and Thomas. Was Tammy with us?
Yeah, I think she went.
Yeah, we all went to Knoxville for the course over there. I forgot which one it was, but there was quite a few trees that had Thomas's discs number that day. And then I think it was you that on the one of the last holes hit the water, didn't you?
I think so. I don't quite remember. It might have been, but I think I was tied with either you or Greg,
I
where I
think
was ahead of one of y'all.
I think me and you both were tied, and we both beat Greg. So
I, I
that's all that's important.
yeah. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but yeah, yeah, I'm glad we got it started on because I mean, I do like the ball golf. I am trying to get started into that,
Right? That's
and I've had a difficulty. I don't think I played a whole lot last year. We've got this little course over here off the Hudson Bridge that is beginner's course kind of, and so, but I feel like I have a lot more opportunity, and I have fun doing. I'd like to go out to an 18-hole golf course. Don't get me wrong, just to, yeah, I know that the first couple times I'm gonna just get my butt whooped by the course, but it's the experience of doing something new. But my heart is still in disc golf.
right.
Even if I only get to do it maybe 10 times a year, play around 10 times,
Right. I
I
mean,
I still enjoy it.
you do have that course up here, the golf course up here, the Gatlinburg golf course that you can always go to.
The one you talk about, the one right there on the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been one that I've wanted to go to. But I'm not sure if I can go to that one or not.
Thomas, tell us, since you're one of the lead analysts on baseball now, and I know it's still January, but the draft will be coming up before you know it, in less than in what, just a little over a month.
I think we're tentatively right now March 8th, I want to say.
Tell the folks about some of the stuff you think as the lead analyst you see coming for the draft day specials on Southeastern Sports Network.
Yeah, so from what I don't want to go in too much in depth, but right now we're planning on doing a pre-draft special, which this year will actually be a pre-draft special. No, last year it was kind of we drafted and then we put out the pre-draft special, but yeah, this year will be the pre-draft special. Then we'll go into our draft that won't be televised, and then we'll go into the post-draft, which is always fun. We'll try to try to base it off of who everybody's opinion and who they think had the best draft, who they drafted, the superstars and stuff like that.
Of course,
I'm really excited to get to the draft.
this year it won't be just me and you on the draft special. We'll have a third analyst with us this year.
Yeah, we'll have Greg. We might be able to get Tammy involved too.
Right. We might have four analysts to help us out that day. And of course, I'm always, as always, anytime me and you could be on the show together, I always look forward to it.
I agree.
And
I really
we
have
look
fun.
we look forward to the bullpen every on the Thursdays. When we do the bullpen, we look forward to that this year.
And we really don't get to sit down and have this kind of discussion and kind of open up for the public and stuff like that. I mean, we really don't get to have it. To me, we don't get to have enough of these.
Right, because
Really,
normally it's everything's usually behind the scenes,
I'm,
trying
so I'm
to.
really, I'm really excited to be a part of the program tonight. Um, I'm really excited. I'm glad you came up with the idea. It was a really good idea.
Right, and we've had people come to us on the network and just tell us that, between football season and baseball season, that's kind of a 2 month window. We've got to do something. And it's a little too cold. I know it, I know down there in Georgia, it's not so bad, even though y'all got the brunt of that last storm
Oh
that
yeah,
came through. It's not so bad down there, but I know like up here, it's just so cold, too cold to get out and do disc golf or anything like that. So I kind of feel like this is a good way to, good time to settle down and, like you said, get to know our players a little bit better.
right. Yeah, and it has been cold down here, but I think the forecast is supposed to be the next 10 days or so. I think it's supposed to be getting highs back up in the 60s. I think I saw a 70 in there too.
I did because we got one coming up too.
And I am excited. I'm excited for the 70 degrees. Let me tell you.
I can tell you, I agree with you. Uh,
Um,
I agree 100%. This snow can move on. I've had,
yes.
up here at the studio, we've had over 6 inches of snow this last storm that I don't think they really projected us to get. You know, that was the amount we got. And thank God for our road crews up here to get the roads back in order so
And don't
quick.
and don't get me wrong. I like the occasional day off or whatever from my job because it's very stressful and very hard working and demanding. But at the same time, though, I mean, there's only when it's cold and snow outside, there's only so much you can do, and only so much that you can do on the PlayStation. I like to play college football 25. There's so much. There's only so much you can do on it.
Oh
So,
yes, college football 25,
I
even
mean,
though you're not nowhere near as good of a head coach as I am on that game.
well, that's really debatable. But every time I've tried to get you to sign up to play me online, you've always ran.
All I gotta say is how many national titles have you run as a head coach?
Well, you started way before I did.
No, you had the game before me.
I didn't have time to sit there over the summertime.
I don't think with both of our jobs, I don't think either one of us is going to really have that much time coming up for the football
Yeah, it's
game.
a
But
it's one of those the working life. You got to balance it really. I mean, there's when you're working long hours, and I'm not everybody's got to work hours.
now, wait
I
a
get
minute. I do have something that one of our viewers did message me on Facebook and told me. He said, this viewer told me to tell you to slow your roll, that you have only your last two or three matchups between this person, you've only beat them by 1 or 2 points. So you haven't truly beat them that big.
well. Let me ask you this though, Scotty. So I've only beaten them by one or two strokes. Is that still not a win?
That would be a win. Yes, it would be.
So I'll put it to you like this. I don't care I'll put it to you in the disc golf. I don't care if it's by one shot, if it's by 10 shots, by 5 shots. I'll put it to you like this in baseball. I don't care if it's by 1 point, by 50, by 100 points. A win is still a win. I'll take it any way I can grab it.
Folks, you can reach him at 555. Lodge your complaints at 555 Thomas. But Thomas, thank you for being on the show with us tonight. We look forward to having you on some more of our shows that we got coming up this year. As always, I love having you on the shows and thank you for being a part.
I appreciate it, Scott. Thank you, and I'm glad to be a part of these programs anytime I can be. Always love to have fun and talk. Always love it, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, and always love having you. Thomas, have a great night. Folks, tune in next week. We will have Greg Lindsay will be our next guest next week. Tune in then to see him. This will be up on the Southeastern Sports YouTube and Facebook page roughly in the next couple of hours. So stop by and take a look. Hit that like button to subscribe. If you like our videos, head on over to our sister page, our main company's page, East Tennessee Media. Hit like and subscribe to those. They just put out a new Our Home Tennessee video, which is always a fascinating history series. Folks, I hope everybody has a wonderful night. Stay warm out there. We'll see you next week.